Hi everyone, today I'll be rehousing 3 of my tarantulas as they've outgrown their current homes, and I'll be asking for your help at the end, so make sure to stay for that. I took a week off last week for the holidays, but I'm back now, so without further ado, let's get right into it. The first tarantula I'm rehousing is this A.germani, or as it was previously described, Pseudoclamoris gigas, or even before that, C.cyaneopubescens, or I think that's how it's pronounced. It's an arboreal species, and so it needs more height than ground space. To accomplish this, I have a self-assembly acrylic enclosure, which was given to me by my uncle for Christmas. When it's fully constructed, it measures roughly 12 cm by 12 cm and 20 cm high. The acrylic pieces fit together and are attached using small elastic bands, and it has a magnet built into the lid to prevent any inhabitants from being able to open it. I'll leave a link to a similar one in the description on Amazon. I'm really liking how it looks, and I'm thinking of buying a few more for some other smaller tarantulas. Anyway, once it was all assembled, I began to add substrate. I'm just using cocoa fibre as it holds moisture well, and she likes to incorporate it into her web. As much as it would improve it, I won't be able to plant the enclosure, as she would web over the plant and kill it. Tarantulas love to have a retreat, and I'll be using a corkbark tube. However, it's a bit too large, and so I'll need to break it down so it fits properly. I used a knife to create a weak spot, and from that I just pulled off chunks with my hands until it fits. I adjusted the substrate so that the bottom of the bark is under it, and I added more substrate so it was stable. I also added more into the bark itself. The final thing to do was to add leaf litter. It makes it appear more natural and gives springtails and other beneficial organisms something to eat. Now to move her. I began by removing as much of the old webbing as possible using tweezers, trying to keep it intact. Once most was removed, I coaxed her into a cup with tweezers. However, before I could put the lid on properly, she bolted out and I had to catch her again. Once she was secure in the cup, I could really appreciate the bright coloration on her. From the old enclosure, I added some of the substrate as it contained springtails and other organisms. Any substrate I didn't use, I added to my substrate box, which I use for my terrariums, isopods and other beetles. I also placed some of the old webbing around the cork bark so that she felt more comfortable. I don't know if this has any effect, but it can't hurt. Now to add her. She was in the lid, but with some careful coaxing I managed to get her out and onto the bark. And very quickly she found the hole and disappeared. I expect her to change it a lot in the coming months, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she does with the space. Now the next tarantula that needs to be rehoused is this Chromatopelma C.cyaneopubescens. She's my largest tarantula, and she's the most beautiful. It's time to give her a bigger space though. She's a semi-arboreal species, and so she needs plenty of ground space and some height, mainly to web on. I'm using this plastic container that has a built-in locking mechanism. I've also pre-drilled ventilation on the sides and lid. They're not the prettiest, but they do the trick well enough. I'm adding about 5 cm of substrate, which again is simply cocoa fibre. Before adding anything to a new home, I'm first taking down her current home so that I can reuse some of the materials. Before this though, I had to remove her, which I again did by coaxing her into a cup and putting the lid on. Once she was caught, I began removing the webbing and any twigs. This species likes to web a lot, and so I'm providing lots of anchor points in the form of twigs. I also added some sand for added texture. Before adding her, I added plenty of leaf litter and some of her old webbing. I moved her from the cup using tweezers, and after some time she was finally added. You can really see her awesome coloration, orange abdomen, blue legs, and almost green carapace. The final tarantula I need to rehouse in this video is a Tlicotactl albopilosus. She's probably my favourite tarantula. She's also the tarantula I've had the longest. She's mainly terrestrial, but they do like to burrow, so I'm adding plenty of substrate. I added a corkbox hide partially in the substrate so she had a place to start her burrow, and of course plenty of leaf litter. I added springtails that were on her old corkbox, tapping it on the side. And I again added her old webbing. I don't usually handle her, but in this case I decided to. I let her walk onto me and then quickly moved my hand into her new space and let her walk off again. I'm hoping she'll make a nice big burrow, but I guess we'll see what she does in the future. Well, that's all the tarantulas that need to be rehoused done. And, like I mentioned at the start, I need your help. I'm planning on making a jungle-esque paludarium for mourning geckos and maybe some other animals, so if you have any tips or ideas, or even ideas for any more inhabitants for that, then let me know. It's going to be a big project, so it might take a while, but I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Anyway, that's all for today, so I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next week.